Mariner Books and HarperAudio present The Jazzmen, How Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, and Count Basie Transformed America, by Larry Tye. Read by Dominic Hoffman. A note before we begin. Don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider. It contains a timeline and bibliography. To my inspirational trio, Dottie Tye, Jill Neeram, and Bill Frushtire, I miss each of you. Preface. A Roadmap. This is the story of three revolutionary American maestros, the jazzmen whose music throbs at the soul of 20th-century America. You know their names: Duke Ellington, Louis Satchel Armstrong, and Count Basie. And you probably think you know their stories. Duke was the man who seduced the country with Mood Indigo and 6,000 other tunes composed on his Steinway Grand, and who wound up on a U.S. coin and a U.S. postage stamp. Satchmo was a multi-talented rhythm maker, trumpeter, vocalist, and leading man on the silver screen, who charmed us when he crooned "Mac the Knife," and whose heebie-jeebies we instantly grasped despite its indecipherable English. Then there was the Count, the most inscrutable of the threesome, who proved, with his trademark flicker of the brow and tinkle on the treble, that the best place from which to conduct a band is a piano stool. Yet much as we may think we do, we don't know any of the three. Not really. The story of Duke Ellington, the grandson of slaves who was christened Edward Kennedy Ellington, was layered, nuanced, and embellished not just by his managers, but by his own behind-the-scenes image polishing. Louis Armstrong's father took off when he was an infant. His teenage mother temporarily took to hustling, and he was raised by his grandmother, great-grandmother, and a family of Lithuanian Jews named Karnofsky. William James Basie, the son of a coachman and laundress, also grew up in a world unfamiliar to white fans, one he dreamed of escaping every time the traveling carnival swept into town, and from which he finally engineered a getaway with help from renowned jazz pianist and humorist Fats Waller. What is far less known about these groundbreakers is that they were bound not merely by their music, or even the discrimination that they, like all blacks of their day, routinely encountered. Each defied and ultimately overcame racial boundaries not by waging war over every slight, which would have accomplished little in that Jim Crow era, but by opening America's ears and souls to the magnificence of their melodies. White men, who wouldn't let a black through their front door, wooed their sweethearts with tunes from the Count, the Duke, and gravel-throated Satchmo. White women, who dodged blacks on the sidewalk, gleefully tapped their high heels in the isolation of their living rooms. Even the most unyielding of rednecks flipped on their radios to hear 1 o'clock jump as they sped their trucks through the rolling hills of the hinterlands. Race, for once, fell away as America listened rapt. In the process, Messieurs Basie, Ellington, and Armstrong crashed through racist ceilings, making both musical and social history. All would be toasted by presidents, from the race-baiting Richard Nixon to the biracial Barack Obama. As their irresistible tunes still keep our feet tapping to this day, the lives of these jazzmen resonate in the way they quietly upended the way musical dynasties are constructed, and how human rights are secured. The sound of their evolving jazz dialect formed a cultural fulcrum that no outraged protester or
Sample complete. Ready to continue?